The resulting explosion of the World Stone destroys much of the countryside, along with Baal's remaining army that continued to march against Harrogath. A larger shard than that of the Soul Stones flies outward from the explosion, smashing into the sea near Storm Point, where it would be swept away to a tidal cavern. The destruction also had an effect on the humans, making them stronger, and over time the spells Anarius had conducted would wear off, allowing the Nephilim to rise once again, stronger than ever before. The heroes, now free of this quest, would return to their rightful places. However, Cain searches for a way to save the mortal world. With the destruction of the World Stone, Sanctuary was no longer under lock and key, and was now open to any and all demons or angels that may be looking for lands to conquer. At this time, Westmarch had come under attack from Astrogar, who had set loose his minions into the city. However, Zael was there to put an end to the bloodshed. With the revelation of the demon influence over the Zakharum church, people quickly lost faith in the religion. Emperor Hakan I moves Kagastan's capital to Chaldeum. Over the years, Chaldeum becomes the most powerful and influential urban city in Sanctuary. With the defeat of Baal, a power vacuum is left open for Skarn, and over the following years he would create a new cult, the Cult of Damnation, where they would seek to find the World Stone shards for their own uses. Unfortunately, the sorceress Isendra had been assassinated at this time by a Viz-Jaktar assassin. The identity of this assassin is unknown. However, perhaps Natalia may know more about this event. Since the defeat of the Prime Evils, the people of Sanctuary go through a time of peaceful harmony that lasts for 2 decades. Over these long years, merchants and adventurers are drawn to the ruins of the once great farmland of the town of Tristram, with them hearing the tales of the treasures held within the depths of the cathedral's catacombs. Over time, the structure is completely stripped bare of all of its belongings, decor, and gold. However, from this comes a new town known as New Tristram, which falls into ignominy. Adria at this time had been sent a vision from Diablo and goes out to find the souls of both Duriel and Andariel, so that his master plan is to be enacted. In 1266, Lai Ming of the Xian Shai had been born. 4 years later, the events of Diablo Immortal take place, with the Royal Mages of Westmarch making a breakthrough with their work which opens the Elder Rift. Merchants at this time had also been given permission to start selling their goods to newcomers and adventurers seeking crests. A vigilante group after this forms, known as the Demon Hunters, who use their hatred for the Hellspawn to inflict their vengeance upon their foes. These men and women would use crossbows and swore an oath to destroy the forces of the burning hells one demon at a time. In an effort to revive their fallen master, the surviving demon forces attempt to recover the lost shards of the world stone. However, ancient evils begin to roam the world, enslaving humanity as they find these shards. Skarn then commands a direct assault against Westmarch, with most of the city falling to his forces. However, only the capital is able to withstand his power. But what he did not know, that there was one that had been sent to break the siege and to hunt his demons down, the Shard Seeker. An adventurer, however, would see a vision, a warning of what was to come with the faction known as the Wrathborn, coming to burn Westmarch to the ground through a portal that ends the Infern Tree's life. However, thanks to the vision, the crisis was averted, but the faction still sought to invade Sanctuary. At this time, the black mists of Mount Xavian began to expand, cloaking the surroundings all the way to the Sentinel's watch. However, a secret would be within the thick haze, a secret lost to time since the Zakarum Crusades. The mists that surrounded Castle Kryangar began to clear, which allowed the warbands to purge all undead from the interior. However, word of this reaches the Burning Hells, who sought to retake the castle in their favor. Without warning, burning rocks fall from the sky. Meteoric slags soar through the sky, impacting the lands of Sanctuary. However, these weren't just any old rocks. These had etchings in them, with rune writings hinting of an evil stirring within. The Cult of Terror breached Stormport, seeking the World Stone Shard. However, on the shores of Westmarch, mysterious rituals had begun, with adventurers coming to partake. But once the Burning Hells get a whiff of this, they soon dispatch their emissaries to recover the knowledge that had been stolen. Soon a dig site would be formulated on an island near to the Gulf of Westmarch. Proceeding ahead of schedule, the workers and archaeologists begin to see hallucinations and have nightmares when they sleep. Once they had dug deep enough, they soon found the cause. One of the accursed towers had been at play here. The workers, however, returned safely back home, but their minds are no longer sacred. The accursed towers are then revealed all over the world, and several factions begin to fight for their control, including the Shadows, Immortals, and the Burning Hells. With their attempts failed, the Cult of Terror set sail through the Forgotten Sea, all the way to the Cradle of the Ancients, so that they may be able to find an artifact that may be able to help them to open the doors to Hell. However, again they come to a loose end. They locate Tarn headquarters and attempt to raid it, creating a tether to the Beyond, as they called it. But the skirmish would abruptly end, and the tether would snap, ceasing the connection. Throughout this time, worshipping of the Mother of Sanctuary, Lilith begins to dawn once again, and her favor hails upon the faithful. Cain in 1272 would take Leah under his wing, making her his pupil in his many teachings. Together the two would set back the plans of Belial, who has since gained entry to the mortal world. Miskar, 3 years later, had been born. Another 3 years later, Samantha Halstaff had been born. In 1281, Jagd Lang had become the advisor for the great families in Zo. With her great work, she reforms the City Watch, transforming it into her own personal army, to which she soon uses it to attack the 10th family. In 1284, Jacob and Shanna part ways. Rowland Halstaff had also been born in this year. However, Ashton disappears, taking what remained of the house, Natoli's fortune with him, leaving his wife to pay off his debts that had been accumulated. Leah and Cain at this time had returned to the place he once called home. However, he soon saw a very different Tristram to what he had been expecting, with them arriving in the new version of the town. Cain would fill his days scrolling through pages of history in the cathedral, continuing his old work in his book, while Leah lives her life spending her time with the townsfolk. However, soon, demons, angels, and men would all feel the wrath of the one true primeval once again within the end of days.
This is for those who own the road. It's for those who make every drive count. For those who demand functionality with style. Ready for anything, every day. New Everest Sport Special Edition. Rule the unexpected with style.
One year would pass in 1285, and after 20 long years, Tyrael had regained his true form, allowing him access to the high heavens. And once arriving, he summons his sword to his side, Eldrune, to which Jacob, the one who discovered the sword, becomes puzzled by the sudden disappearance. Hakan II removes the support for Chaldeum from the borderlands. With these lands now left without defense, the Coven move in to claim their new territory, resulting in a flurry of refugees to come pouring into the city. Hakan attempts to resolve this matter by sending the Iron Wolves out to battle the Coven, and the Imperial Guard is now implemented into the ranks of Chaldeum's forces in order to protect the citizens from the flocks of refugees. Abd al-Hazir departs Chaldeum in order to record his findings on the many wonders and perils active in the world, where he would spend months in the wilderness before swiftly returning home after being shaken by the things he has bear witness to. While this had been going on, however, Samuel Durest had been found guilty of the crime of murder for killing Marlowe, to which he had been dealt with swift justice by the force of the executioner. Lydra and Wrigley transport a demon across Aranok, however it soon turns against them, possessing Lydra, forcing Wrigley to kill her for his own self-preservation. Cur Oduil returns to the Dreadlands in the middle of the year. Valdraxis, a minion of the Lord of Terror at this time, began to plague the towns, Holbrook and Havenwood, with his presence before Vala, a demon hunter who was a Nephilim as well, had managed to kill him. However, she soon learns of a prophecy that will occur in 7 days, and she begins to travel to the town of Tristram to catch a glimpse of a falling star, to which she suspects cannot be good for all of mankind. On the peak of the 7th day, Tyrael would return to the Angris Council, where they had been waiting for the judgment of his crimes for his interference in the mortals' affairs.
Tyrael, the ancient law of the high heavens strictly forbids us from interfering with the mortal world. Yet you have done so, brazenly.
All I am guilty of, Imperius, is bringing justice, while you hide, cowering behind your throne.
Silence! You will now answer for your transgressions.
judge me. I am justice itself. We were meant for more than this. To protect the innocent. But if our precious laws bind you all to inaction, then I will no longer stand as your brother.
Sacrilege.
Leah, are you all right, my girl?
It was nothing, Uncle. Just a bad dream. We should be getting you home.
But there's still work to be done. If these translations are correct, the powers of hell could already be on the move. The world must be told of the coming darkness. You do believe me, don't you, Leah? It has begun.
Leave it, Uncle. It's not important.
This event would spell disaster for New Tristram, as the dead had begun to rise with the power of the fallen star, crashing through the cathedral and into the lower levels of the catacombs, and Leoric would rise once again to make everyone suffer as he had suffered. At the time of the falling star, Lai Ming would see it burning through the sky and would follow until reaching New Tristram. Zoltar at this point would be guiding Miskar through the Gorgora, which had been a forest that was becoming overrun by demons in the wake of the star. The covetous Shen would leave Xian Shai after warning Jai that a civil war had been fast approaching them for the island nation. The Nephilim all meet in New Tristram, and with the aid of the townsfolk, Deckard Cain and Leah, they repel the undead forces, defeat the jailer, the Skeleton King, and save Tyrael from the Coven's forces. However, the price of victory can be very steep, with the death of the beloved Deckard Cain. Magdar had indeed escaped from the Nephilim's clutches, but left an opening for their pursuit. But first, Tyrael and Leah had to bury Cain, and after Tyrael's confession of how he became mortal, they met with the Nephilim to find Magdar and Belial to make them pay, which is exactly what they do with Magdar, perishing at their hands. However, Belial would be another case entirely. When they approach the Emperor, he dismisses the claims and asks for the guards to escort them away, to which they begin to transform into serpent-like demons and chase the heroes into the sewers. However, they soon find Adria, that she had been alive all this time, and soon rescues her from Belial's minions. Together, the group goes out into the wilderness to find Zoltan Kull's body, after encountering his spirit in order to find the Black Soul Stone. However, as they do so, they are soon betrayed by the sorcerer, and a battle ensues. But through their cunning minds, the Nephilim are able to defeat Kull, no matter what he tried, and they soon challenged the Emperor, calling Belial out, who had been disguised as him all along. The Nephilim defeat Belial, and Leah manages to store the Lord of Lies away in the stone.
of this makes any sense to me. What am I missing, Uncle? What am I supposed to see?
Ravaging this world and all hope of resistance. My minions will find the stone, wherever you choose to hide it. Then, at long last, Osmodan shall reign as the prime evil.
Leah, are you all right? Speak to me, child.
Ariad. The demon's invasion will come from Ariad.
Now the last Lord of Hell, Azmodan, launches a surprise attack against Bastion's keep with his demons pouring out from Ariat's crater, which had been the remains of Mount Ariat after the events of Diablo II, Lord of Destruction. Regardless, the keep would never have stood a chance at delaying the enemy if it weren't for Leah gaining a vision from the Lord of Sin himself, who arrogantly announces his plans to become the prime evil. The Nephilim quickly rose to the challenge and had even invaded the Ariat's crater and defeated Azmodan, allowing for the final piece of the puzzle to be laid to rest. Or so they thought. Unexpectedly, Adria betrays not just the Nephilim nor Tyrael, but her own daughter to the might of Diablo, fusing the Black Soul Stone and Leah together, allowing for her to become the Prime Evil's vessel.
Dear Leah, Deckard always suspected your true father was Diablo himself. And now, my daughter, you shall serve as his vessel. I live. But I am more than I once was. The 7 evils are now one within me. I am the prime evil. Well done, faithful Adria. Go now, until I call upon you again. Now, at last, to my true goal, the one that has always eluded me.
The heroes were helpless to cease the event, as Leah had stepped into a reddish portal leading away to the high heavens, where he would meet an old friend.
Even in the heart of heaven, angels can still feel fear.
no matter what form you choose to wear. Let your true self be revealed. Diablo.
At the time of the invasion of the High Heavens, the Jailer, who was left to attend to Inarius, joined the battle. The bloodthirst was just too great for him. This had left an opening for Inarius to flee the hell of hatred and to return to his beloved sanctuary. After climbing to the top of the spire, the Nephilim had seen the angels were indeed helpless to stop Diablo, who had begun to corrupt the Crystal Ark, the birthplace of angels. However, despite his true powers at hand, the Nephilim destroyed Diablo, forcing him back into the stone, where he would remain for all eternity, or so we thought.
In the end, it was a mortal heart that saved 2 worlds from ruin and cast down the prime evil forever. A new day breaks for both angels and men. For mankind's greatest champion, the Nephilim, rose to confront the darkness that we, in our pride, would not face. My brethren, I will take my place among you once again, but this time as a mortal. Since justice has been met this day, I will now stand as wisdom. On behalf of those who risked all to save us. Forevermore, we shall stand together, angels and men, in the light of this glorious new dawn.
Declaring that heaven and sanctuary will be standing together against the forces of hell and darkness, Tyrael would return to the council, becoming the aspect of wisdom with the mysterious disappearance of his brother. Later, Al-Hazir had been captured by the remaining forces of the Coven, who take him to Sescheron. 2 months after the defeat of the one prime evil, Diablo, in 1286, Tyrael had reformed the Horadrim, taking the Soul Stone away from the Council, which had begun to corrupt them. Strange creatures at this time would begin to stir in the lands surrounding Westmarch, that begin to plague the city once again. Nerissa Natalie at this time wins a dowry for her sister, but results in the cost of her own life. Hiding the stone deep underground within the crust of Sanctuary, Tyrael and the Horadrim place the stone at the center of the chamber to be held under lock and key, never to be used, and the souls trapped forever until...
You have done well, Horadrim. Your service here is finished. And you should all... run. Malthael.
Brother. Why?
The Nephilim will stop you.
No one can stop death.
Malthael then sends his legions of undead warriors out and even commands the spirits. The dead rise, so much so that the balance between life and death becomes underbalanced. Lord Winton at this time uses these events to his advantage, forming a rebellion with the peasants against King Justinian IV. Winston is successful in the revolt and murders the king, but the Nephilim make sure he cannot take advantage of the vacuum of power by ending his life. With the help of Imperius, the Nephilim are led to the Pandemonium Fortress, where they defeat Malthael, but not before he shatters the Soul Stone, absorbing the power and the souls trapped within. But in destroying the angel, the evils locked within had also been released back into the world, and their return wouldn't be a matter of if, but only when. Due to this event, even more horrors would begin to plague humanity on Sanctuary, such as the rescue mission of Al-Hazir and dealing with his Coven captors, and when the Nephilim discover the Grey Hollow Island, allowing them to stumble upon the lost secrets of the island, they soon encounter the Crazed Man, better known as Raoyld the Younger. The Nephilim and the Crazed Man have a battle, but eventually the Nephilim overwhelms the man and defeats him. Led by the demonic entity Vidian, the Blood Cult lead several Nephilim into the depths of the Temple of the Firstborn, where they drain their blood in order to boost the powers of their master Vidian. However, the Nephilim are soon drawn to this influx of energy and they manage to stop the demon in his tracks. However, the battles waged in and out of Sanctuary through time and space begin to fluctuate, turning into the realms of fate, opening portals all over Sanctuary to pocket dimensions that hold several events from the past, present, and future. After some investigations, the Nephilim, with Tyrael's help, were able to cease the spread of these portals, lowering the risk of total annihilation and calamity to Void, leaving humanity and the Nephilim to rebuild and expand into the next era.
Good day.
In the years following the events in and around Reaper of Souls, humanity found themselves besieged by religious schisms, wars, famine, and a collapse in the economy due to the damage done by the Reapers. Heaven, also having faced the wrath of the demons and Reapers, chose this to be the time for self-isolation, as they had shut their gates to Sanctuary, the wastelands between heaven and hell, the burning hells, and the beyond. Moving through and past the decades, Sanctuary has become a hollow shell of what it once stood for, with demons roaming the lands as if they had created them, taking what they desired, who they desired, enslaving the populace to their will. The world soon turned into a new hellscape. Those who escaped these horrors now live within, hiding, scavenging for food and water as best as they could. Others that were once heroes to the people of Sanctuary are now new monsters that drive others away, forcing the mortals to distrust others. The Empire of Kyrgyzstan soon collapses due to the several wars and demonic invasions taking their tolls on the nations of the world. Hakan II at this time had ordered that the gates of Chaldean be sealed shut in a bid to wait out the storm. Tyrael in these dire times had left the Horodric Vault for unknown reasons and left Lorefna in charge of his absence. But the group soon whittles away into dust and echoes. Inarius at this time begins his work once again. As soon as he had seen the devastation of the world he had created, he reforms the Cathedral of Light. Unfortunately, he could never have expected that a group of adventurers would travel into a sacred site in search of treasure, wonders, and knowledge. The men, however, would find that a hive of demons had been waiting for them, and they had been torn apart until 3 are left standing in the main chamber, where the guide accidentally begins to recite the ancient passage in bringing the mother back to her children.
your mind? He's not going to make it.
He has to.
Blessed Akarat, thy eternal light protects me. Thy divine wisdom guides
Look at me! All the gold we want is right there.
No, I just came here for knowledge.
They're coming!
I know.
Get over here!
Now, breach the seal. Get us through that door.
All right, help me. By three they come. By three thy way opens. Blood shows. This doesn't make any sense. Blood is the key. Blood is the key!
What?
I need two of you!
No! Go! I'll hold them! Go!
So, it says the blood of the willing goes...
You gotta be kidding me! It worked!
We have to help him!
He's dead already. It's a shame he didn't make it.
Oh well, cheer up. Gold splits better 3 ways instead of 4. Must be hidden here somewhere. Read this.
By three they come, by three thy way opens, by the blood of them willing. Hail. Hail the Creator. Ha! Hail the daughter of... Oh, no. No.
What about the coin? What's it say?
This is forbidden. This is a summoning. I cannot speak this.
Don't lie to me!
We came here for treasure. What is this place?
I don't know. Maybe it's a temple. Or a tomb, or... Blessed Akrat, thy eternal light protects me. Thy divine wisdom guides me. Though my path is walked in darkness, guide my soul to thy sacred ways.
From this, we see thy salvation. By three they come. By three thy way opens. By the blood of the willing. We call thee home. Come.
Blessed Akarat, thy eternal light protects me. Thy divine wisdom guides me. Though my path is
Open your eyes.
Eternal light protects me. Eternal light protects me. Eternal light protects me. Eternal light protects me. Eternal
There
light.
is no light here. You came to the darkness for knowledge.
Yes.
And all the knowledge you seek is here. Surrender. Speak the words. Call her home.
By 3, they come. By 3, thy way opens. By the blood of the willing, we call thee home. Hail, daughter of hatred. Creator of sanctuary. Hail, Lilith.
Blessed Mother, save us.
Upon having new visitors each night, Lorith would shine the light on several instances of humanity's history with the demons. Lilith, on the other hand, had been busy building a new wave of support for her own church, which brings us straight to the modern era in this universe, bleeding into the events of Diablo IV in 1336. The heroes of this tale move through the wilderness, and soon after their horse perishes to a wolf encounter, they make their way to a nearby town, to which they find a babbling man speaking nonsense, and after vanquishing the demonic hordes beneath the region, the townsfolk rejoice, giving the heroes a meal and party in their honor. However, after their drinks are spiked and they pass out, they find that the townsfolk have means to kill them. This is where they make their escape and seek to find their way in this dark and new world. Lilith at this time carves a path of bloodshed into humanity, allowing her children to create sin in her name, killing priests and anyone who upheld the light.
Shameful. Our Father has granted you a path to salvation.